Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. It is, February 27th, 2018. I'm broadcasting to you live from my freshly painted apartment in New Jersey. I don't have Josh with me today because he's flying, and I guess such is life of the crypto traveler. But I do have a guest with me today, and we're going to talk a lot about music. We're going to talk with Juliet, but we're not going to talk with Juliet today. We had some technical difficulties, but we'll have her back on in a few days. She's with reputationcheck.io. That'll be an interesting show. But today, we're going to hang with my new friend, Dan Novaes. Sorry if I didn't say it with proper oomph, but I really gave it a try. And Dan is from Current. Current is a music platform using blockchain, and we're going to talk about what that means. Obviously, I'm quite interested in these kinds of things. We are on a panel together in San Francisco at the World Crypto Economic Forum, and that was actually a very nice panel. I had a good time. So Dan, thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tatiana.
Very good. So you're broadcasting to us from Chicago today, huh?
Today from Chicago, yes. Our US-based office is in Chicago.
Okay, well, I wanted to give a shout out to Chicago. I have a very good friend there, Erin Galgley. She's you should hang out with her. I don't know if you're single. Why am I trying to hook her up on my show? That's actually really quite awkward. She probably wouldn't appreciate that at all. I take it back. She's totally engaged with several fine gentlemen callers, but no, she would be a good friend. And I always think about how I have a lot of very nice friends in Chicago. Pamela Morgan, a good friend of mine, she does some of the Bitcoin meetups out there. Did you ever go to those before?
I've been to a couple. I don't know if I've met her. We did probably like 2 or 3 different meetups in Chicago before we went on the whole like crypto world tour or whatever, tested out here. So maybe I ran into her. I don't know.
So, okay, how long have you been doing this? What happened with you that you ended up in this weird blockchain world? Like, what was your background before? And then you could tell me what you're doing now and how that happened.
Yeah, so background before, I've always been I've been doing entrepreneurship ventures since I was in high school. Started an e-commerce business going into college that by the time I was a freshman was doing a couple of $1 million a year. That provided a lot of capital.
Why? Time out. Why did that happen? What made you so different from the rest of the lazy kids that are playing video games? Why did you want to make that, and what was it? Like, how did that come about?
So I guess my personality was I was always kind of a mischievous kid. I mean, I was a good student, but mischievous at the same time. So I was the kid that would always find some sort of hack to sell the Pokemon cards, like the Japanese version, to the Chinese or to the American kids that I'd never seen. And then had some issues with Playboys when I was in 4th grade and got suspended. And then when I was like 15, I actually started using my employee discount to buy leather jackets at Polo, Ralph Lauren, and sell them on eBay. And I was making like $200 or $300 these like leather jackets. And that was like kind of like not very sustainable of a business, obviously. However, I did make about $30,000 in about 5 months, something of that nature. And that was like the startup capital I used to then start the business that did it. Started doing about a couple $1 million a year. And essentially, like, my background is I'm from Brazil originally. So I grew up between Brazil and this small town in Indiana called Columbus. So it was very helpful to see kind of like how people saw the world. And that's something that's always transpired in all the businesses that I've done. But in Brazil, like, a MacBook or an iPhone or whatever usually costs 3 times the price. And usually there used to be a 6-month lag between the time something would come out here and there. And this holds true for several other countries. So what I would do is I'd basically be the first person reselling items that would come out here or were not coming out overseas. And then I moved to UK or I didn't move to UK, but we set up a warehouse in London that did European Union, Australia. I moved there and set up business there. And yeah, I started out with these random polo jackets and just turned into this big business. Big like bootstrap business, and then that allowed me to basically do a variety of other entrepreneurial endeavors since then, So that was like I don't know, just the way I'm wired as a person, I guess.
No, I think that's pretty clever. You're like Jay-Z, but without the like crack and stuff. I mean, a little bit of mystery, there was a little bit of, shadiness, but you had to start the business out somewhere.
I think that, these things are
resourceful. You didn't do anything illegal. They didn't say you couldn't sell the jackets online.
No, they didn't say. I mean, I heard through the grapevine that I was going to get canned from the managers, but at that time, you know, I had like all the employees on like my little payroll. Like I'd pay them an extra $20 just to buy the jackets for me.
Oh, see, I was wondering how you could get away with buying that many jackets, but that's good. See?
Well, yeah, I used to. Yeah, then I naturally got into affiliate marketing after that, obviously. So, but
So wait, what's up with affiliate marketing? Because a lot of people think it's lame and cheesy. I have Beauty Counter, and I got it mainly because I just wanted to get like the Beauty Counter makeup, more of it, and you get like incentivized.
Yeah.
But I don't like selling to my friends. And then people say that it's a like a pyramid scheme. So how do you explain affiliate marketing, and how do you get people to not think you're a shade ball when you're trying to sell them stuff?
Well, I think that the difference between affiliate marketing, growth marketing, and MLMs, right? MLM has like, you know, pyramid scheme tendencies. Not every MLM is a pyramid scheme. There are pyramid schemes in MLM, and unfortunately, a lot of those create bad names for the entire industry as a whole. I do know people that run super successful business, you know, like through like things like the Nutrisystems or whatever those things. I didn't really do those things where I'd sell things to my friend. My focus was more online marketing. So like Amazon and all these massive companies have massive affiliate programs, right? And basically what you're doing when you're an affiliate is that you're just driving traffic to, you know, some sort of offer or product. So, you know, slickdeals.com, right, or slickdeals.net is like one of the best like deal hunter sites in the world, right? And every day it'll post like 25 deals that you're just like, man, that's an incredible deal for that Nike shoe or a washing machine.
What's that website? I need to go there. I want to get some deals. Yeah. I like a good deal. Who doesn't?
Ironically, like what happens with Slick Deals is that you don't plan on actually buying anything, and then you see these deals for things that you absolutely don't need, and then you end up spending more money. So you're actually, all the money that you're saving, you're not really saving because you're just buying shit that you don't need. But you should check it out. It is interesting, slickdeals.net. But in any case, so like a website like that has a crazy affiliate model because what they're doing essentially is like if Amazon has a crazy deal, they have a community, and that community is activated, and then you know, it gets posted there. Then those deals get voted up. Then when you click on the Slick Deals you know, site, it takes you to Amazon under their affiliate key. Then they're basically getting 8% of anything that you order on Amazon that day for a period of 24 hours. So it gets cash. So if you end up spending like $500, $1,000, they're making $80 for nothing, right? And these guys get a lot of traffic. So they're literally making tens of millions of dollars, you know, like probably a month, to be honest. So there's affiliate, the people that I knew at the internet at the time, like when I was younger, the people that were doing the best were the affiliate marketers. But there's like, you know, black hat marketers, there's white hat marketers. There's a lot of sketch shit that happens, you know. Then there's a whole like acai berry craze that happened like, you know, over a decade ago and all that type of stuff. So in any case, I think that what I was most intrigued by it, and it's just my personality. I've always been interested in consumer-facing ecosystems and driving mass traffic to, you know, whatever I might be building. And there's just a way my mind like operates, and how do I get the biggest community on this and kind of get people bought in. And I mean, that's similar to things that we did for our token sale and how we created our you know, invite your friend referrals programs, how we set up our airdrops, our sign up flows, and then like how
we're jumping ahead now. Yeah. I like where we're going, but I think we want to just make sure that we understand. So what the hell is Current?
Yeah, sorry. So Current is a incentive-based blockchain platform. What we essentially do is bring together all your favorite media services, so Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, variety of others. And while you're consuming media, we reward you for your attention, your data, and your time with our token. One thing that a lot of people don't know about you know, Current is that, and I actually misspoke, it's not just a platform. Usually it's an ecosystem. It's actually a platform and a protocol. And the reason I say that is that the protocol is really the thing that's incentivizing people for that time and attention, and how you're earning those tokens. And the way that we design the protocol is actually allowing any third-party media service. So say that I'm Mixcloud. Mixcloud can actually use Current protocol to launch its own token and tokenize itself in its own ecosystem. And then it becomes a sub-token of the Current ecosystem itself. And then we can actually work with some of those platforms, actually incentivize them to do so. So where we like stake their coin essentially. The way that we kind of thought about this platform was, we wanted to focus on Gen Z and millennials, and we had our certain vision on our platform. And if I looked at like what success looked like for a platform, that would be say 100 million to 1 billion users, right? Something like that. That's pretty successful for a platform of caliber. But if I look at success, like the world, and like what media platforms have been unable to do today is like really impact every country in some way and set a precedent of what the future of media consumption is look like. So I think if you look at like say YouTube or Spotify, for example, they have been unable to get into China. If I create a protocol that works with any media service, then I can partner with Chinese companies and allow them to basically use our protocol and launch their own token in that ecosystem. So now our impact and our overall impact could be in the billions of people as opposed to the hundreds of millions or whatever. In any case, I mean, that's usually like the scale that I'm thinking about. But it's also about like where we see the future of media consumption going here in the next 2 years, 5 years and beyond. And I believe that today, the average 19-year-old kid is spending about 5 hours a day consuming on his phone, like consuming media on his phone. And if you project that out, it's about 16 years of an average lifespan of like around 80 years. And this number is only going up as we get into more digital, programs that we're consuming, augmented reality, virtual reality, whatever it might be. So we're starting out with like music and stuff, but Current's really an all-in-one media platform or ecosystem, and what we're really focusing on is incentivizing any digital product that we put attention on. So that could be music, then video, and then we'll see where it goes. As we move into the augmented realities of the world. So that's kind of like a baseline background of Current.
So if I want to use Current, can I use it right now?
Yeah. So if you have an iOS, if you have an iPhone, you can download it in the App Store. The incentive-based part of it, we're putting out an alpha likely sometime in April. But you can use it to consume media as hundreds of thousands of other people do as of now, and you can consume 6 different networks in there and get a bunch of awesome free.
What are the networks? What if I don't like those networks? What if there's I want to go to YouTube because YouTube has all the stuff. I don't like YouTube because they're stealing my data and they're paying their content creators nothing. Yeah. So but that's not enough for me to just constantly use the platform, right? How does it, tell me a little bit more deeply how that would affect me. Like, why would I go there just for that money? What if I'm not poor?
Yeah. So I think that, so you're saying if you don't want to be on YouTube, or if you do want to be YouTube?
No, I'm saying like YouTube has a million different pieces of content at one. If I'm going to the Current site, do you just get all the content that's on YouTube goes through your site too? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So we have YouTube and Spotify and SoundCloud. We have over 100,000 radio stations.
So you're openly selling people's data and you're giving them a chunk back for it. Is that the deal, the trick? I mean, I don't even think it's a trick. If you tell people that you're doing it, I'm cool with it, especially if they can make money. But
yeah, so the way it works is essentially, as you pop into the network, it's basically you can choose however you want to integrate with it, right? So we have assigned a contribution coefficient to every person, which is basically a variable that's like, okay, what is this person's consumption worth? And we look at a variety of factors. We look at, do they have ads enabled? Do they, how many integrations have they tapped into with us? How much data has they shared? Is it foreground uses, or background uses, or geo? So a variety of these factors, because all consumption is different. And then essentially you can choose how much you want to give or not give, right? You don't have to give us that information. It's up to you. What we're looking at is like, what is this person's contribution to the overall platform, and why is that valuable? Because if you give me more information, I not only can I have better recommendation, but I can also have better advertising. And then the network itself becomes better, more valuable, right? We get better algorithms, we get better consumption. So it's really about just kind of, taking this very important resource that we all own, which is, I think, or these resources, the data and attention, and then, putting it out and being able to compensate you, because today you're not getting compensated on it. The people that are
right, because they're getting that info either way is kind of my process, right? So if I'm watching, I don't know, a video on YouTube, or if I'm watching it on my Current app and it has the same experience, essentially, why wouldn't I just want to take that one instead? Because I they're all raping us for data all the time. every app that you have on your phone is doing that.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's about just kind of evening out, or not evening out, but really like giving people choice on how they consume and what they're sharing and whatnot, and compensating that. I think that as people find out that that should be the precedent, I think we'll see a lot more businesses kind of go into that business model. And I believe that the next Facebooks and Netflixes of the world will encompass this this type of attention-based economy business model in them.
Okay, so did you guys do an ICO, and when was that?
Yeah, we sort of did an ICO. I guess we did a private sale, but we had planned on doing a public token sale and all this stuff. So we announced it probably the late part of December, and then I think at the beginning of January we had about 50 some people in our Telegram, and then by the end of January we had 100,000. So we capped out the Telegram group. Like that's the biggest you can make it at that point in time, and then. So right around that time, we had a scheduled public pre-sale coming out on February 7th. We had about 250,000 people already signed up for the token sale, and well over $150 million in interest in the private sale itself. Then we had this like idea around like, well, what should we do, right? Because independent of what we did, we would have people being upset at us. If at this rate, like our token sale was supposed to be in March, like that's when it was scheduled for, like the main sale was like March 14th, and we were like, man, we're gonna have like 750,000 people signed up for this thing, because every day we were getting like 10,000 some emails, and then we were like, well, if we do that, then we're gonna have to limit people's allocation to like 1.1 ETH, and everyone's gonna be very upset at that. Then you had the regulatory environment that kind of would make it so that we would have to like be like, okay, U.S. people can't be a part of it, and Chinese people can't be a part of it, whatever. So we ultimately just decided to do like a $6 million airdrop, or a $4 million airdrop with like another $2 million for like bounties and other things like that that people can participate in, and then we didn't have to block anyone, and so we ultimately raised the $36 million on the private side, and then did quite a large airdrop for the community as a whole.
Very cool. That's exciting. How long have you guys been doing this for overall?
So we raised $2.35 million in seed funding, like not tokens or anything like that, at the beginning of 2016. And then that's when we started building and iterating on Current, and kind of like figuring out the business model, and figuring out like, what do people care about? Like, what do they like? Our first vision actually was just to be a media ecosystem that, that worked anywhere in the world. And then then we found that to be very challenging to do, because there's a lot of countries that even these media platforms can't operate in. So like Spotify's in 60 countries, Apple Music's in 90 some countries. And then you're thinking, I was like, well, if we had a decentralized media service, then that would be phenomenal. But then you have a chicken and egg problem, right? So then thinking about that idea, we're like, well, what if we create an incentive-based system to get everyone to buy into our coin, or like a coin of some sort. And then we started thinking about this attention economy idea. Well, what if like, you rewarded the consumers, the creators, and the curators, and also the networks. And then eventually, if you wanted to, you can build a decentralized network that live alongside centralized services. And that's ultimately how the idea of Current kind of like took shape. And then we decided to do the token sales or go to market in the summer of last year.
Very cool. I like the progress here. So do you guys get like, I don't know, what's the strategy now to grow the model? How do you get the word out there?
In terms of Current itself, the platform, or
yeah, everything. So, like what's on the trajectory? Where do you guys see yourself growing?
Yeah, so I think that the first step was, you have to kind of set up your token economics in order to create a natural network effect. So the way that we set up ours, as an example, is every token that's created in the system, 55% of it goes to the consumer. 20% of it goes to the creators, so that could be someone like you. And essentially, even if we're not working with the creators, it gets put in like an escrow account that they can come claim within 12 months, right? And if they don't claim it within 12 months, it goes into a decay rate, like 10% a month. Then we rewarded the curators. So today, people curate out of passion, and they don't get any reward for it. But Spotify and YouTube get quite a lot of rewards from playlists that people make. So we're rewarding that directly for those curators, and allow them to basically create these amazing curations. I think human curation is so amazing. And there's only so much AI can do today. In that sense. And then the last part is this referral system. So essentially, like, I guess my first part of what I was saying as a marketer, it's only on the first level. It's very similar to like the Uber, like I give you $20 and I get $20, whatever. And that's how that works essentially. Whereas like if I refer you to the network, I get 1.5% of your consumption. And you get 1.5% extra of your consumption too. So instead of getting 55%, you get 56.5. So we naturally built our token economics to basically get the consumers, the creators, and the curators involved, and also incentivize the sharing, the natural sharing of the ecosystem itself. I think the second part of this to get mass buy-in was to because we first started Current, we thought of it much just as a platform, and it would live everything inside the platform, and that's what success looked like. Upon going through this journey, we're like, man, everyone's going to do this. Like, it's not just going to be us, and it'd be stupid for us not to, set the precedent and allow others to use this technology to do it themselves. And then now they can use our protocol to do so. And I think at that point, that really brought us into this worldwide, thought process of how we can work with, the Spotify of Russia or China or whatever. And that's a much larger business. And I think that's kind of how, we think about the spreading of it. In addition to the various apps and stuff. I mean, we've had five apps hit the top 10 of the App Store, that I've done in previous businesses, and we ran one of the top 500 highest traffic websites in the world. So, we know how to drive traffic to products just in general. But I think it's important to set your business model and the economy of the product to get to a point where all these people can to use it.
Cool. So is there anything in are there any other projects in blockchain that are inspiring you guys? And also, why did you decide to go into blockchain anyway? I don't think that we kind of did that crossover, did we?
No, I can tell you a little bit about that. In terms of projects, I think that, I personally like a lot of the other incentive-based ecosystems that are out there, like Steemit or BAT. I think that, the concept of attention-based economies is always intriguing to me. I think that they're going off for different subsegments in the industry, but at the end of the day, I think that that's like really where we're going in general of what consumption is worth. It kind of reminds me of a Black Mirror episode, if you watch the first one, where the guy has it's like proof of attention, and it could go very badly as well. But I think that it's for the most part good. And then in terms of how I got into blockchain in general, it's kind of a random story actually. So I had just moved to Chicago, and I was at my ex-girlfriend's friend's birthday party, and her little brother, I barely knew this girl, had just gotten into MIT, so he was like a freshman, and I was like, man, smart guy, like MIT, that's great. Asked him what he was into, what he was studying, and then he said he was a minor, and I didn't understand. Well, first I was like, well, you're definitely a minor because you're 18, but I was like, I guess now you're not a minor anymore. And then I literally thought coal mining, right? And the guy literally, he's like, no, it's not mining like that. Like I mine these coins online, and I was like, I didn't really comprehend, and I was like, okay, and I was like, what's it called? I was like, Bitcoin. I was like, okay, cool. And then I randomly just looked it up, right, and sent a note to myself to go look it up, and that's how I bought some of my first Bitcoin. It was just like a random. Super random event, and then bought some. It went up in price quite a lot, and this is I kind of, to be honest, forgot about it for a couple of years, and then it kind of went up and down with the Mt. Gox stuff. Sold a little bit. I wish I would have kept more, but I did still keep a fair bit amount. Then kind of got really back into it maybe 2.5 years ago, but more just from an investment standpoint. Bought a little bit more, beginning of last year. Bought in a fair bit of Ether, but the concept of us actually using blockchain was and creating OnCoin actually was so Galia from Bangor is a friend of mine, and I remember when I was in Israel 2 years ago, she was like, yeah, I'm working on this new cryptocurrency. And I was like, man, everyone's really smart. I know it's going into this industry, and then we started thinking about just ideating on what we could do in it. And then when we saw this incentive-based idea, take Storm, and we were like, well, man, we could do a token sales or go to market, and it'd be a phenomenal way to kind of set this precedent, but also as to make a splash in the industry that no one's really doing. And that's kind of like how our journey progressed. So, it's been an interesting mix of how I got there, I guess.
Cool. So where can people catch up with you? I know that you do some speaking and stuff. Are you guys on the conference circuit? Where can people catch up with you if they want to learn a little bit more about this and, I don't know, ask you questions in person?
Yeah, so I was heavily on the circuit because I think it's necessary when you're on your token sale roadshow. We'll definitely be at the conferences, but not right now. I'm just focused more so on building the business. But we'll definitely be I think at South by. Then we're going to be at Token Fest. But we do a lot of interviews and stuff digitally. I try and do at least like a couple every couple of weeks. And people can go to current.us. Our Telegram is there. I'm always on Telegram. Hit me up and we can chat.
All right, that sounds good. Awesome. So thanks very much, Dan, for coming on the show. I don't know, everybody. We'll see you next week. I've got guests. I've got travel. I'll be next week at the DC conference with Perry Ann and the Chamber of Digital Commerce folks. So that'll be nice. I don't know. I'll see you soon, Dan. Let me know when you're in New York. I'll let you know when I'm in Chicago.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later, everybody.